Oh my God, maybe. Hey, all right, there we go. I was wondering if it was going to go live at all. Hey, here's the deal. Six Pods of Sick Week. We're on right now. I know it's a little later start, 9 p.m. We usually don't start this late. We usually always talk this long, but had to do it tonight. Happy birthday to my daughter, Gracie. She's 9 years old today. She's begging me for her birthday present to go on Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0. So I think we'll probably do that for her if we're not taking the cart. If we're taking the cart, it's a little hard in the back seat for her to do that. The guests on tonight, we've got, again, veterans and rookies. It's going to be a good time. We're going to cap it probably at an hour and a half. I told them about an hour, but it's just so hard for me once we get going to stop. So I'll do my quick intro. Guys, every live stream from now through the end of Sick Week is brought to you by Destroyer1320.com. The neutral safety strap cover, he designed this piece after one of his Mopar buddies had their car stolen at an event. He sells them. It's a great thing. I guess, I don't know. I can't imagine that Mopar makes something so easy to steal, but they do. So we'll play his little commercial in just a second. And I want to thank the guys that made the podcast room possible. And then we're going to get right into it. So Dino Cardella, Donovan Green, Tyler Petrum, Tom Stark, Matt Monroe, Ryan Wing, and Big Bad Daddy, the Cowboy Yankee, John Marat. I write it on the wall so I can remember it every time. It'll always stay on the wall right there. That way I'll always be able to see it because, they donated, made the room possible. So, all right, let's play this, and then we're going to get into it and bring everybody in.
Are you tired of worrying about your car when it's parked in the parking lot? You're not around it. You're at dinner. You're at the mall. You're worried about it? Stop being worried about it, man. Go over to www.destroyer1320.com. Get yourself neutral release cover. If you pull this up and you don't see that, go over to Destroyer1320.com. Get yourself one of them. Do yourself a favor. Get the latest TDS OBD2 cover. That will stop people from cloning your key. Head over to www.Destroyer1320.com now.
All right, perfect. Love that dude. He has helped us grow our channel so much. If you need intros and things like that, definitely, I cannot recommend him enough because he's awesome. So let's bring everybody in. Probably the easiest way to do this is start ladies first and kind of introduce yourselves, and we will default to that as we go through the whole night. If you guys were watching last 2 nights ago, I think, or maybe even last night, I can't remember now. We had to default to Carrie because it was just like circles were being made. So we'll start below me here and then work our way around to Mike. It'll be Mike and Mike here on the top.
Hi, I'm Jazzmin.
Yep. So tell, sorry, I'm interrupting you there. Names and social, where they can find you guys, if you have YouTubes, all that kind of stuff.
You said social. I thought you were talking about social security numbers.
I'm Jazzmin with Built by London Racing, and it is that on all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I also have my personal Instagram, CTSV_Bonnie.
Nice.
And I'm Built by London Racing. And like Jasmine said, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Duh.
Nice. Everywhere. You got to be on YouTube, man. Steve, you want to run us through your stuff?
Yeah, I'm Steve Mask, and I'm on Facebook, Steven Mask, and it's with a PH.
Got you. Okay. You don't typically shorten Steven with a PH to STEPH.
No, it doesn't, and then you turn into Stefan, and then you get confused with other people. So
that's right.
Like I told Mike, I already have a hard enough time remembering my own name, so I just shorten it a little bit. Makes it easier for me to remember.
There you go. Mike, you want to tell them where to find you?
Yeah, Mike Murray, and my Facebook alter ego is C. George Murray, and I'm also on Facebook at 10mm Garage, and on Instagram at on_shaky_ground. Nice.
Perfect. Well, you guys know why you're here. We're talking drag and drive events. We're talking Sick Week, obviously, coming up. We want to lean on some of the veteran here because London and Jazzmin are definitely, you guys have never done one of these before, right?
Right.
All rookies. And I think the other two folks over there, y'all have done at least one, right?
Yeah, this will be my third event. So I think it's a long stretch to call myself a veteran, but I've been to one or two.
And I've done one.
Awesome. Well, perfect. Well, we've done 2.0s. We're gonna kind of work through, some questions that you guys have. Obviously, I'm gonna kind of do some Brady Bunch here as I look down and over. We're gonna go through some of the questions you'll have, and then I've also got some topics that I feel like will be good for people that are watching, as well as everybody that's kind of in the mix. I'd like to start with cars that you're taking. Mike, definitely tell us about the car you've taken on other events, and then we'll work into kind of how that, how you prep those cars and things like that. So, because I think you guys are bringing the CTS-V, so it's a little later model, which is kind of a plus on your side, because you don't necessarily have to worry about finding old parts. So why don't you kind of tell them about the CTS-V, what's done to it, any mods, anything like that, and then definitely tell us about putting the hitch on that thing, because it looked like you had to take a ton of stuff apart to get that done.
Okay, so the car it just has an upper pulley done to it. It has 1200 cc FIC Clinics injectors, a 4.5-inch coder intake, and speed engineering from the headers all the way to the stock muffler in the back. Nice. And that trailer hitch was a B word, because I'm really bad with body parts. I'm terrible. I am horrified because I'm scared of scratching the paint. I'm scared of her scratching me because I scratched the paint. So so the directions say, hey, you can just slide it through the frame rail, but the frame rail is also this big, and you have to put a washer in this big so the bolt won't go through the frame wheel. So I was sitting here, and we were just sitting here for, 10 minutes trying to slide it through. And then we also called one of the other sick weekers, Sharon and her husband, Jared. They have a purple V coupe. And
Valkyrie Racing, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I called them. I was like, hey, how do you do it? He was like, well, you just do this and do this and do this. And that our job turned into a 10-minute job. So, yeah, it was fun. And her X-pipe didn't want to slide back into the exhaust for whatever reason. But then I ended up calling a friend over. As soon as my friend come, I had the idea, just get the pry bar, and it just slipped right back in.
Right in there. That's awesome.
Call the friend always works.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the reason it does, because it gives you that 4 minutes away from the car to gather your thoughts. That's why it works.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Yep. Is that car a stick or auto?
It's auto.
Sweet.
I wish you could drive a stick.
No. Hey, listen, sticks are hard, especially drag and drive events, man. They're hard because you're driving, beating on it all day. And then, we'll be racing in the mornings here, but axle shafts, and as Rich Guido and Bill Armstrong have both attested, sticks are violent on the drag strip. So
yeah.
Yep. And it's Steve, you want to walk us through your car?
Yeah, so Doris is my 94 Buick Roadmaster station wagon. It is a stick shift car. I bought I guess the long of the short is I bought a 92 that was like the funky purple color with wood grain. It was like stupid cheap, like $800. And my whole plan was to gut the car. It was right when Steve Morris was really starting to play around with his wagon, the Boostmaster. And I was like, I'm going to build a car like that. I'm going to strip it, do a full frame, all of that stuff. And I had the car for about 3 days. And then my wife sends me a message on Facebook or something. And it's like, hey, I found this one up the street and it is way nicer. So I think that was the hint. And we ended up, I sold the other car. I actually made a couple $100 on it, got rid of it, went over and bought this car. And the car was immaculate. It had 130,000 miles on it. Still ran great. So I drove it. Yeah, I drove it bone stock for like, I don't know, about a year and a half. And then the OptiSpark started to fail. And whenever that happened, it's like, okay, we're just going to yank the whole engine out and we're going to LS swap it. And then whenever I was thinking about that, I was like, well, I want to do something really unique. So I went with the stick shift conversion. So I got with the guys at 3 Pedals. We're just starting up. They bought all the rights from, I believe it was a guy down actually in Bradenton that was making a stick shift conversion set for the Impalas. So I'm number 8 with 3 pedals. So
Wow.
it was funny that the first 10 customers they had, they made custom shift knobs for them, and they said, "Oh, well, you're number 8," and I was like, "It's got to be a black ball."
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's cool, man.
Did the stick shift setup, ended up breaking the rear end, broke the T6060 that came with the LS2 that I got out of the donor car. So put a T56 Magnum in it. Had Greg Mosier build a rear end for the car. We actually had to take the old rear end. I gutted it and had to take it up to Indiana. My in-laws lived up there, so luckily we had a cheap ride up there, and Greg put together a rear end for me. The car.
What you're saying
been
is
an absolute riot.
It snowballed. You were going to build a race car,
100%.
and your wife's like, "I want a street car."
Yeah, no, she didn't want anything to do with it whatsoever. nothing to do. But at least this was a little bit nicer. You know, she figured at least if I'm going to do something stupid, it can look kind of decent, but it is still a wood grain 94 station wagon.
Well, and dude, it's slide to the side there because the folks, I want people to understand there's a scoop on this thing. Like,
oh yeah, we call it the COVID cowl. I actually I've purchased a hood for it, and before drag week, I got a call from the guy, and he's like, "Look, we're 2 months behind," and then it was, "Oh, hey, we're a month out," and then it was like the week before drag week, and I'm like, "Look, man, just you can put me on the back burner now." And I bought that, that little hood scoop from Summit or whatever for like $80, and then riveted it to the hood just to clear the intake. So, and now it's awesome. On, and I don't know. I don't want the fiberglass hood now.
You don't want it to look nice. You like the rivets and the.
No, it looks as shitty as the rest of the car.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see the pictures of yours and Steve's car together. Like, because there's going to be
I keep wondering if he'll let me line up with him, man. I am not leaving the line at the same time as he does. I'm gonna let him get down the track first.
Oh, hell no!
You better stage.
No, you better get out in front. You better red light, like the first yellow bulb. Come on, you better go. We want to see that.
As soon as his stage light lights up, I'm leaving.
Yeah. So the Model A we're bringing, it's a stock 350 with a blower on it. Looks super cool. Is Justin says if it runs 16s, he's going to be blown away. So I told him, listen, if you're up next to a fast person, you better like yellow. That first yellow light comes on, like once they start going down, I was like, you better leave.
As soon as the tree's activated, let it rip.
I was like, we got cameras going to be in there. I want them to hit that flyby, man.
Hey, real fast, Mr. Destroyer. Hey, these are 1320 shirts, but it just so happens she has a car and I have a truck. So
nice. Red Hat Scotty, dude. Hey, tell us if you're still on the road. They left today. I think we were posting pictures of them. If you haven't met Red Hat Scotty, you've got to meet him and the dude and get your picture made with the stuffed animal they've got. I think they've got Tyrone the Rhino this year on this event. His daughter picks the car or picks the stuffed animal that they take with them so they can because since she can't go because she's in school. So anyway, sorry. Yeah. So we didn't talk about times that these cars run. So Jazzmin, you'll tell us because you drive the car, and then Steve, tell us and then we'll get to you, Mike. I promise.
It's pretty so in the quarter, we've been so long since I've been to the track.
So the car runs, like high, or not high, low 11s. But that was also in, obviously, Texas heat. Yep. So we don't really know what it's going to run now. I thought about going to the track last weekend, but I just want to have the fresh Hoosiers for the event. Yep. So, and plus we didn't want to break it.
Don't break it.
No, we'll save that for Monday.
Yeah, exactly right. Monday, second
Friday. And actually, I'm gonna hit up Pat G. I don't know if y'all know Pat G. That's our tuner, Patrick Guerrera. I'm gonna be like, hey, put some more time in it.
Yeah. Right. Steve, what's your car? What's your car ran so far?
So when I ran in 2019, it was normally aspirated. We were running low 14s. And then this past year at Drag Week, I was running it on the spring on the wastegate because I literally Drag Week 2019 on the drive home, we spun a main bearing. It had the DOD delete or the DOD delete on the LS2, the valley cover, and it spit an O-ring and lost oil pressure. Spun a main bearing. It ate the engine, so I let the car sit for like a year and a half. So I literally didn't drive it until we did 2021. So I had put the turbo on it, got all that setup done, and I ran it on the wastegates. We were only running 5 pounds of boost on the car. So I was running the best pass was actually on Friday when we did the stick shift shootout. And I was pitted up against the guy that's won the stick shift shootout apparently year after year. So I staged up and I was like, I'm not, it's like there is no way in hell. But I chopped it and let it eat. But I got a 12.2 on the car, was the fastest
That's
it
awesome.
ran. This year, it'll be interesting to see what it does. I ended up swapping over to a TurboSmart E-Gate, so one of the electric wastegates. And we're still playing with the tune on that. I had an issue with it going to all the boost. Now I've got a pretty decent setup for third and fourth gear. First and second still real lazy, but I'd almost rather have it that way. Trying to get 5,000 pounds moving. The more gentle I can be in first gear, the better.
Yeah.
So if we could get the car if we could get in low 11s or high 10s, I think it'd be amazing. And then on Friday, I may get stupid and then put it back to the tune that we had whenever we first put the E-Gate in, and it was winging like 27 pounds of boost. So just to see if we could maybe possibly either get the car in the 9s or balloon all the cylinders, one or the other.
There you go. I like your style. Mike, all right. You got a bunch to update. You got to tell us about the car, and you got to tell us like what kind of times it runs.
I've got a 65 Nova that I've owned since 85. I recently converted to a gasser, got the big block and a turbo 400 and 4.9-inch in it. And we ran my best time at Drag Week. I did a little bit every day. I started with a 14, ended with a 1260. And I think with some more time in the car for me, because I've never driven anything like that before, and some more adjustments on the car, I think we can probably get mid-11s out of it, which is kind of what we were shooting for when we built it.
Yeah. That makes for a fun street car. You know what I mean?
It's a fun car to drive, that's for sure.
Yeah. And then how many, you said you've been on one, and what year was it again? You just said it, but I forgot.
Just the most recent Drag Week, in 2021.
There you go. That's I'm excited to try and hit day 4 and 5 of Drag Week for 2022 because they're coming St. Louis down to Memphis. So I think I'm going to sneak over and make that drive with them. I wish I could do the whole thing, but there's no way. I'm already limited on my time doing Sick Week and 2.0. I couldn't tell my wife, hey, I'm going to be gone another week for another race car thing. Yeah. So anyways, so let's kind of get into it. There's some good questions I've got at the end. I want to kind of tell everybody, like as we're going, like what do you have left for the trip? I mean, I guess Steve, you're kind of close, so there's not like you don't have a day's worth of travel to get up there, so that's a plus.
Finally, I'm close. I will rub that in everybody's face. Finally, I just have a day trip. For Drag Week, it was a 2-day trip from Florida up to Michigan, and it's a tough drive to make that drive and then go do a week, and then you get back to the trailer and you go, oh shit, I got to drive for 2 more days.
Yeah.
My tow rig that brought me out had 6,800 miles on it by the time we got home from Washington.
Wow. That's wild, man. Listen, I'm committed. I like this stuff, but I don't know if I like it that much. I'm gonna have to find something closer. And then London, Jazzmin, what do y'all got left to do? I mean, I saw you were packing stuff up.
Okay, so earlier today I repacked. So I pre-packed so I can make sure that I'm not forgetting anything. So luckily the car is still pretty slow for us, so I don't have to pack alternators and cranks and cams and all that different stuff. So we don't have too much to really pack. But we brought like a canopy and
Yep.
I did bring an extra set of wheels for a non-sanctioned trailer burnout, so I could just pull over and then slap the regular wheels back on and pull off.
Yeah. You better just put the burnout tires on when you go to leave the track, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's all the time. It's not like an area or a day. Just get ready to annihilate some tires.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a ton of fun, and I'm sure there's like used tire places down there. We had done some dumb stuff in the cart before we tore the trans up, and so we were on the verge of like needing to find a used tire shop to throw some more on.
Heard that.
So, yeah. So it's pretty normal. And then so that'll lead us into, so you guys are pulling a trailer. Steve, do you pull a trailer? And then Mike, did you pull a trailer, or did y'all yard sell it?
So in 2019, I pulled a U-Haul trailer. I think 2019 is an interesting story all in of itself, in how I got started into a drag and drive event. But I pulled a trailer in 2019, and then in 2021, I thought I drive a station wagon. I can fit a whole lot of crap in it, and then I put the roof rack on it, which now the roof rack on the car, I've got it over there. The roof rack on the car is now kind of like the key aspect of the car. Everybody asked about the roof rack, so I'm going to leave the roof rack on. But it absolutely destroyed the coilovers. And we had a funny incident going out to dinner one night in Michigan. So this year I will be towing a trailer again, just to save the suspension on the car. We had a funny incident going.
Nice. Mike, did you pull a trailer, or did you just load everything in the car?
Well, we started out with one of those little hitch-mounted baskets. We bring it over in a trailer. We couldn't really bring a trailer with us. So we started with one of those baskets, and it kind of broke the hitch and stuff out because of the leverage on the thing bouncing down the road on the first travel day. So we wound up having to leave that behind, and we just managed to repack and get everything in the car. And man, that was a pain having to load and unload that every day at the track. Trailer's the only way to go.
Yep, I've tried to explain it to people. It's like packing for vacation, getting to vacation, and then every day packing everything back up and loading it up. It's
trying to get the tires out of where the back seat's supposed to be, and all. Oh man, what a pain!
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. We yard sailed for 2020, and the tires were like 81 pounds on the cart. So, and we were loading them on the roof because we wanted them out of the way.
Yep.
Oh my God! By about 2 days of that, I was like, this is dumb. We're bringing the trailer next time.
So one thing I did, like London said, is I went through and packed everything. And once I had it packed, I then pulled each of my totes back out. And then I've got a Ziploc bag with what's in the tote and where it's in the tote. So then, because the last 2 years it's been, I need heat shrink tube. It's in one of these totes, and then destroying every single one of the totes to get a piece of heat shrink. So I am trying to be organized. I am probably one of the most disorganized persons in the world. My garage kind of shows it. And then I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. But I've certainly learned what it is that I definitely have to pack to get to that threshold of going, I'm not going to deal with this. It's going to go on a trailer, and we're going to get a rental car and finish the rest of the circuit.
Right.
So that's what I pack for, is what I need to get to that point. And then you see some of these guys that are ripping transmissions out and rebuilding them on the side of the road. And I'm like, no.
I don't want to do that. That's what we should have done, was rebuild the trans in the cart, but I don't know anything about Ford stuff. So, Ford transmissions, what are you going to do? All right. So let's talk hotels. Did you all book hotels? Are you winging it? You sleeping in the car? What's the plans for everybody? We'll start with you guys.
Some of these guys that are ripping transmissions out.
I think you guys are breaking up pretty bad there.
That's what we should have.
Nope. I think their internet is struggling. I think he's telling us that it's struggling. Hang on, I'm gonna message him real quick. Steve, you wanna take over and kind of tell us what your plan is for it?
I'm booked up with hotels. One of the other guys that I run with that since 2019 and 2021, his wife, as soon as the dates hit and the tracks hit, she goes on and books hotels and then sends us all the hotel info.
Yes.
And then our whole group from Florida has a tendency to jump on as many of the hotels as we possibly can. So we're
That's
already
great.
booked up for that. We're already booked up for drag week, whether we get in or not. We've got the hotels situated. 2019, I actually, by the time I found this group of guys through a mutual friend, I was able to get into a couple of the hotels. And I said, screw it, I'm going to wing it. And we had a nightmare situation at a Days Inn and ended up sleeping in the car instead of the hotel room. So now I definitely try and make it a habit of pre-booking the hotel room. As wicked as these events can be, having a nice bed to lay in is certainly nice, even if it's only for a couple hours.
Yeah. There's a lot of times where it is just a couple hours. You end up, man, there were 2 nights last time where I slept at the table trying to finish the edit and just be asleep over there. Finally showered and laid down. Mike, did you are you a hotel guy? Or you a tent car? What do you sleep?
We hotel it for the most part. My wife's the queen of booking that stuff, and when we couldn't get hotels, she got some of the vacation rental by owner things, and some of those are pretty entertaining. There was one we stopped at, and it was this very nicely reappointed old mobile home in a park. And it was a nice place, but the park was a little questionable. When my son and I pulled in the gasser, this drunk guy comes walking out, and he's got his T-shirt on from How Stoned Am I or something like that, and he's yelling and hey, nice car, hey, do some burnout, somebody. I was like, yeah, no, that's okay. Where do we find this spot? I don't know. I think that's over there, but yeah, we finally found it.
That's wild, dude. I
Then
can
we get
only
up in the morning,
imagine.
there's no water. The city water was out.
Oh, you're like, I
My
just
son
needed a
was smart. He
shower.
took the car the night before.
That's awesome. Well, so I got a message back from London and Jazzmin. They're working on their issue there. I think he said cell service was taking a hit, and so he's coming back on in just a second. And then we'll catch back up with them for sure. Steve, what is there a track that you haven't been to on this trip? Have you hit all those tracks because you kind of live down that way?
I've been to them. I have not run any. Orlando, I made a pass at in a streetcar, but none of the tracks have I made a hit on. I don't think I'd call her a race car, but I haven't made a significant pass in anything quick at any of these tracks. I do visit them all frequently, especially Ozzy's track, both Orlando Speed World and then South Georgia Motorsports Park. They actually work out really well for us where I live in St. Augustine. So my boys and I like to take trips in Doris and go run to either Orlando for the World Streets or up to South Georgia Motorsports for lights out and No Mercy, stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm excited about both of those tracks. I think it's going to be really neat. I'm excited really for every one of them. Justin has never made a pass down a drag strip, so that'll be kind of fun for him. And then, he'll surely by day 3 or 4 have it figured out. We'll have made a bunch of passes by then. So it looks like they're back. All right. Sorry about that.
All right. Do y'all hear us better now?
We're good now.
Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like you were talking, but it was like so choppy. It was like an old camera or something. It was weird. All right, so we talked about hotels a little bit. Were you guys want to tell us? Are you booked up? You sleeping in the car? What's your plan?
Well, like I said, she wouldn't let us sleep in the car. She's too bougie for that. And then we just got Airbnbs.
Nice.
Because man, like I was looking at hotels in Bradenton, and they were like $800 because we're coming Friday. We're leaving here Friday. So, like we were saying about the distance drive, since Mr. Steve, he got, that far to drive, and we got this far.
Finally.
So I think I looked to our first Airbnb. It was 16 hours and 50 minutes. So,
I bet you can beat that. Come on.
Please don't tempt me because hey,
Yeah.
look, let me tell you. So we had the U-Haul trailer when we bought her car. So we went to Houston and picked it up. So it's only 4 hours. So I was like, hey, Jazz, we got all this suspension stuff done to the truck. I was like, let's see what it can do. So I got it to about $110, and I was like, no, this is not it.
this is not the one to do that in. Yeah, you'll be running. I don't know which way you're coming, but if you come kind of across Texarkana to Atlanta, you could do the that half of the Bandit run there. Make a run. But but I guess you guys are trailering the car, so never mind. Then don't hurt the car for sure. trying to get a speeding award. We don't need you to
mom,
do that.
If anything happened to her, I'm scared of her and her mom. So no, I'm
And then, are there any tracks that you guys are excited to hit out of the list?
All of them.
Yeah.
We never been. We're excited about the whole thing.
Because we're going to Oklahoma a couple different times, but never raced out there. All our track, we only raced here. So this is just a whole new thing to us in general.
Yep. And then from what we were talking about on messages, she races the car and you're going to drive between the tracks, right?
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
She does this much driving.
Yeah. She does the important one though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, she needs me to get.
That's right. So, Jazzmin, do you drive because you're better on the light? That's typically why my wife would drive if she even raced. She would be better on the light than I am.
Well, my reaction time is pretty important to me. So that is my main focus, is making sure my reaction time is better than the guys. So that's another reason why I started racing, is because he really got me into cars when he had his G8. And so once that went away, the V was the next best thing. So I just went for it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be interesting to watch y'all's dynamic, of course, on the channel as you spend 5 days in high intensity, stressful level together in a car for 800 miles.
I'll tell you
this. It's okay to fight. It's okay. Just do it. And then walk away, get your time. There's a lot of guys, and I'm sure the veterans here will attest to this, that there's going to be some points where you don't want to see each other anymore.
Well, it's been 10 years total of that. So
yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. I'm excited. And
Detroit, for my son and myself. Oh my goodness. Took us 3 hours to go 9 miles. He was blowing up all over the place.
Nice. Yep. It's funny. You end up, me and Dustin, who's been my co-pilot 2 years now, the first year was great because before that, we had never really hung out more than, at his mom and my wife are friends. And so we would hang out at their place and drink beer and stuff, just a little bit here and there. And had probably spent a total of 2 hours together in our entire lives. So the first year was awesome because we didn't know each other. It was all these stories. Listen, by the end of the second year, we drove home. It was 2.5 hours to the house. We didn't say anything to either. It was just like quiet for like 2.5 hours. It was great. So, and I think he felt the same way. I think he would say the same thing now. So we laugh about it, and we still don't hang out during the year, but just a couple times. But race week, we're together all week, and it's like, put the dukes up, man. Let's go. So, all right. So we talked about tracks. Are you guys attending the Freedom Factory party? I guess if you're coming in early, you are, right?
Yes, sir is.
Yeah, I'm excited to get over there. Steve, you going to be over there with us, or are you going to be making passes?
Yeah, no, I'll be over there Saturday. I think the guys in Orlando, Mark wants to leave at before the sun comes up. I don't know if we're going to leave that early, but we're going to be over there Saturday.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll be around. No, I usually on Sunday I'll usually tech in. I might make a pass. I've got to be honest. I love making a hit on the car and doing the pass and then coming back to the pit and cleaning up and then going and walking around and watching. Now that I'm too deep into it, it's to me it's more about everything that goes on around us. I enjoy that more than I do making passes in the car.
Yeah, I'll agree with that too. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm going for media content, but I'm excited to kind of spend some time with people that we've met throughout the years of doing it, and then also all the new people that all the cool cars that we haven't even seen yet. I mean, think about the folks that aren't on Facebook, that are never post on Instagram, anything like that. We're going to see cars we've never even seen before, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, the grouping is pretty wild, and it's amazing to see how many newcomers are in the group, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. Let's talk about part breakage, because I think Danny said it best yesterday. If you're not prepared to wrench on the car, London, if you're not prepared to wrench on the car, you're going to be in trouble, because you're going to do a little bit of, and it's okay to wrench. I think there's a lot of people that look at that badly, but it's always a good thing to spend a little time turning some wrenches. So, Mike, have you ever broke anything while you're on the trip?
Well, we ran the trip with a broken steering gearbox. We didn't know it until we got home, so we didn't wrench on that. But had we probably wouldn't have finished with it. I'm not driving that. But,
right.
We made it. But we didn't break too much. We had to adjust valves a couple times, and we had the lifter maybe going bad or something. I still haven't figured that out, but nothing serious. But we helped a few other people do a little wrenching. So.
And then Stan Nelson here is asking, how many runs are you going to get? I mean, really, I think the answer to that's probably 2 a day, maybe. You think?
I'm typically one and done. I make a hit and then I go back, unless it was both years I had a day that was bad, so I went back out and ran again. So my average is 6
for the week.
Yep, that's it.
Yep. Mike, how many passes did you guys make?
I was a one and done guy, and the last day we did 3.
Yeah.
One and done, and then you get to the next hotel before it's too late.
Yeah. So this will be the first time we've ran in the mornings, and we're definitely going to talk about that. But for the cart, the first year, I think I made like 20-something passes that week. And then this last year, it was really, we tried to do one and done because we weren't competitive in our class anyway. So if it was reasonable, I did it. And if we had time for a second pass, I think we did. So I think we made, I know the third day we only made 1 pass because the trans was going. And then, day 2, we only made 1 because it was all the time we had because Doug had the issue with the wall and the Nova. And everybody was lined up because it was so hot. So, I think we made 2 passes the first night. So 4 or 5 passes that whole week. So that ought to be good fun. London was talking about saving tires. You probably won't have to worry about saving tires. You'll be making 5, 8 passes throughout the whole week. Let's see. What were we talking about? Sorry, we were talking about something else. Oh, broken parts. Okay. So they haven't broke anything yet because they haven't been on one of these yet. Any road hazard? Any animals been in the road in your way?
I've never had an animal issue out on the road. I heard of a couple other people. I think in 2019, one of the guys was running a Blazer and ended up clipping a deer and wiped out the whole front quarter panel of the Blazer. But no, I haven't had animal issues. Knock on wood, man.
No animals here, but we were rolling into town the last travel day before Friday. And we getting off the highway, and my son's driving, and he hit what turned out to be a retread off a semi, but it was pitch black. Neither one of us saw. He hit that thing. I said, "Geez, what'd you do? Run over the town drunk or something?" And it sounded terrible, but it didn't hurt anything in the car, so we were all good.
Looked like an alligator out there. Steve, are we going to worry about? Are we going to
wham? All of a sudden,
that's crazy. Are we going to worry about alligators? We're going to worry about lizards, anything like that when we're working on something on the side of the road?
Everybody from up north has to worry about our reptiles. No, it's too cold. They're going to be they'll be napping. So no, it's not really a big issue. But don't tell anybody else. We like to keep Florida the way it is.
That's awesome. Let's see, where are we at here? How about let's talk about snacks. What do you guys keep in the car with you? What's between the seats while you guys are driving? London and Jazzmin, y'all want to start that one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe. Dang it. Don't y'all live in Dallas? I thought Dallas was a big city, got good cell towers. Okay. He's like, hold up.
Question: Can you hear us?
There you go. I got you. I can hear you now.
Can't hear us, can you?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. Just your video is really choppy. Hang on, let's do this. How about that?
Okay, so we just switched to my phone because my laptop was doing whatever it wanted to do. So let me get us situated.
Okay.
Okay. So can you hear us now?
Yep.
Well, I can't hear y'all. Give me a sec.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Give me just a sec.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
Steve, what do you carry with you?
Whatever, anything. When we get on the road, it just depends. You know, if we had 2021 we had a pretty nice trip, so we were able to stop and grab a decent lunch. And then but 2019 it was beef jerky and Slurpees and coffees and crackers and whatever else was in the car. I'm impulsive. Oh, the one thing we did do, I forget what gas station it was up there in Michigan and Indiana, but they had these like tamales on the roller, the hot roller.
What?
And it looked, the first one we went into, it smelled really, really good.
Yeah.
So I got them and ate them, and then went back to the next gas station specifically to get more. But that again, that goes into a whole nother story about food for us on Drag Week in 2021. We were at the hotel in Michigan where we started at, and there was a Mexican restaurant right outside of the hotel, and we decided myself and Mark, and I think Ed participated as well. We decided that we were going to have a Mexican meal at least once a day, every day of Drag Week. And
that's
so
why that joke was funny.
Every place we went, we ate Mexican food. And then my brother-in-law, whenever we stopped at the gas station and I walked out with tamales, he was so disappointed.
He was like, no. God.
But it was like every day we went out for Mexican food, and one what was that? No, it was the day was it the last day? Yeah, Thursday we come back to Michigan to go race on Friday again. And Thursday we pull up in the parking lot, and I don't remember if the Mexican restaurant that was right out front was closed, or we had decided, because we had already eaten there more than once, we were going to go try something else. And there was one like every 3 miles everywhere we went up there. So we decided to jump in the car and go run to one up the street. So we loaded everybody in my car. And so it was me, my dad, my brother-in-law, Mark, and his wife.
The only problem is we can't hear y'all.
We figured
so
out.
I'm messaging London.
6 people in the car. The gas tank cross strap dragged on the ground whenever we popped back up into the hotel, and it fell off. So after a couple margaritas, maybe, and a significant amount of Mexican food, we're laying under the car and trying to push the gas tank back up and get it strapped back in place.
That's crazy. Mike, what's your go-to road snack?
Well, being in a 65 Nova with no air conditioning, we had lots of drinks and some beef jerky and some stuff like that, but nothing too major. Didn't have room.
Right. It's fun. We bought the best beef jerky at some podunk gas station in this tub. I think it was like $25 for the tub on the first year. And we were hungry. It was day 2 and we had not eaten enough the day before. You know how it goes. And then we're driving along and we ate the entire $25 tub of beef jerky in like 20 minutes. It was,
oh God.
We paid for that the rest of the day. It was just like, I'll just say this. It was a good thing we were in an open air cart. Yeah. It was,
come from. They probably told Joe Floyd down the street made that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think probably they could have done. So-and-so somewhere close to him did it. I guarantee, because they had like this whole, like local beef jerky section. You could tell it was just
it was
stuff.
raccoon. That was raccoon jerky.
No wonder it was so good. Any cool like restaurant stories? I mean, obviously, if you went to a Mexican restaurant every day, you've got to have something where somebody sees something cool, somebody starts talking about the car in the parking lot or something like that.
So on my end, that would go 2 ways. I got a nickname from Mark, one of the guys that runs with us. His wife has dubbed me Margarita Steve. And in 2019, again, we had a Mexican restaurant in Virginia that was right outside of the hotel, and we went there one night for dinner. It was a really long day, and we get there and the lady comes to the table and she's like, "We have a pitcher drink special." So it was like there was 12 of us at the table or something like that, and I think 10 of us ordered pitchers, and we're like, "Yeah, I'll take a pitcher." And she's like, "Do you want 1 or 2 pitchers at the table?" And we're like, "No, we'll each take a pitcher." So the pitchers come to the table and everybody else is pouring theirs in a glass, and I stick a straw in the pitcher and start drinking out of it.
I mean, why wouldn't you do that?
I had a good time, and the rest of the evening was just absolutely swell.
That's awesome. Mike, any cool restaurant stories?
And then what was funny too was on that night that we all went in the wagon on 2021. And we go roll up in the parking lot of this Mexican restaurant, and they had like an outside seating area out in front of the restaurant. So we pull in, and of course, I roll right up and pull right in front of the parking lot, and everybody's looking at the car. We're all inside dying laughing because everybody's looking at us in absolute disgust. And we get out and we're cracking up, and then even the waiters and stuff are looking to see what's going on. And we get out and walk right in the restaurant like it was no big deal.
Yeah. What do you mean? We're driving. This is a car. We can drive in this parking lot. Leave me alone. Are you guys good?
Yeah. Okay. Now that's much better. So we just switched to her phone. My laptop, it has 16 gigs of RAM, but it has a fan that slows everything down once it's heating up. So
hey, that's the way it works. We're talking about restaurants and fun road snacks and things like that. So Mike's about to tell us if he's got any crazy restaurant stories, and then you guys have to tell us what snack is in the car with you.
Okay.
No, I don't have too many crazy restaurant stories. We didn't hit too many restaurants. We mostly just kind of hung out at the hotel and ate whatever my wife cooked up. So
that makes it nice. We it's funny, with 2.0, you race at night typically, or all the time you race at night. So, we always either ate what we picked up like at Walmart that morning and, made sandwiches, or you stand in the 2.5 hour line to get food at the track. And that's never a good idea. Or you end up going to Waffle House. I'll just tell this story real quick because I love it. We're in the cart. Of course, it's the first year. And so I had been chasing David Newbern for like 2 days trying to get him to sign my Dukes of Hazzard trash can that Mike Finnegan and Mike Cotton had already signed. And I had been messaging David Newbern for weeks leading up to 2.0. Hey man, I need you to sign this. I'm gonna clear coat it. Finnegan's a big Dukes of Hazzard fan, right? So I was gonna have him sign. Okay, so they're leaving the next morning. They had broken blasphemy. They're leaving. I'm not gonna get to see him. So we go to Waffle House at midnight. Okay. You know how Waffle House is at midnight. Dude behind the counter is smoking, making waffles. It was a great experience. We're in there an hour. Yeah, I'm sure. And so we like literally are walking out of Waffle House, and here comes all those guys: Finnegan, Dave Newbern, Cole Reynolds, who takes photographs and stuff. He's in Dallas area, and so we come walking out and I'm like, oh man. And he goes, don't you have some stupid trash can for me to sign? I'm like, yes. So we get him to sign it. And as he's walking in, I'm like, hey, do y'all like burnouts? And they're like, yeah. And so I had this gallon jug of water I've carried all week. I poured the entire jug out and literally melt the tires off in the parking lot at midnight, right in front of the door, not thinking that is going to go inside. They said that it smelled like burnt rubber the entire time they ate. That some people didn't even finish their food because they were like, it tastes like burnt rubber. So we destroyed it. So I jump on Google Maps the other day. Hang on, I'm going to find this picture while you guys are talking about your road sex. I pull up the Waffle House that we ate at, and the black marks are still in the parking lot on Google Maps. Now, I don't know how old the picture is, but they're still there. So I'm going to find it. So what do you guys typically carry with you when you're road tripping and snacks?
So as y'all were saying in the other live videos, Buc-ee's. Everybody seems to love Buc-ee's. But she likes Buc-ee's. But as I learned as us getting a little bit older, our stomachs ain't the same anymore.
Yep.
So
You don't have the iron gut anymore.
Me and her like to eat the jerky that we just can't do the jerky anymore. Because I'm Cajun, so I like anything spicy. You put anything spicy in front of me, I'm gonna eat it. Now, when you do the ghost pepper stuff, no, can't do that.
Yeah, so they're pretty faint there. But listen, when I'm telling you it was on the limiter in second, it was over. That car was like, I don't want any more. And we just stayed in it and around the corner and just drove as far as it would spin the tires. We were spinning them. It was awesome. So, yeah, we had to replace rear brakes. So we're putting a line lock on the car next time. So it'll do it better. Yeah. Yeah. Hot Rod Dave says scattered, covered, and smoked.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a good time. All right. Let's see. We talked about that. All right. So let's ask the rookies what kind of questions, what do you have that we haven't covered that you need to know?
I don't know.
Oh, you're in trouble then, I'm telling you.
I mean, we already know about the whole E85 situation, so we're just gonna run pump 93 or what octane do y'all have out there? Y'all's highest octane.
I mean, Florida's 93, but I mean, yeah, there's not a ton of E85 in Florida, but I don't, compared to whenever we were running through Michigan and everything, I mean, the guys that I'm only starting to run E85 on the car now, but I'm just going to carry 20 gallons with me and try and parse that out on the track. And as I'm running to the track, I'm going to try and run the car fairly low so that I can keep my numbers up. I know a station up here where I'm at's got some pretty decent, I think it's 70%. So I'm just going to fill those up and bring them with me because on the street, I don't want to run E85 because this car drinks. But I don't know what the issue is there. There's going to be a few here and there in between each of the tracks. So I think we'll be fairly okay. And I know quite a few of the guys that are down here in Florida have already started reaching out to the different stations along the routes and let them know that we're going to be coming through to make sure that their tanks are full. But that's awesome. Like IED is saying, VP's bringing fuel to each of the tracks, so there'll be some E85 for just about anyone out there. Yeah, and for when you turn the car up, I'm just saying, there's race gas they'll have there too. Just saying, just putting it in there. I'm bringing moonshine too, so if we run out, we can always just we'll pour a little bit of that in the tank.
That's right.
Some taco vodka. Ain't that stuff like stupid? Like, can't you run your car off with taco vodka or something like that?
Sure, why not?
That's what it is.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yes, you can. You can do that. Like a boss used to tell me. Yeah, my boss used to tell me you can do anything you want to once. That's awesome. Well, we're kind of coming up on an hour. I mean, I definitely want to help answer any questions or have any stories that anybody wants to tell. but I don't want to. I guess we don't have. I don't have any more questions right now. I kind of have it as like an open forum time. If there's any questions in the people that are watching, you want to go into it. These are hard for me because usually I have about 2 hours worth of topics, but I was trying to keep them condensed because I'm trying to be shorter and shorter on these for this week at least. Racers and Rods says no E85 that I know of between Bradenton and Orlando. But I mean, what's that? 180 miles, 150
no, I
miles?
think there's a station right on State Road 27 that's right off of I-4 that's got E85.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no day that's further than 200 miles, right? I mean, surely you'll be.
No, and I don't
would
know.
think,
I don't know how many of these guys are running cars that are tuned. Their maps are specifically set only to run E85 with the flex fuel sensor. I'll run 93 in it and then just pour the E85 on top and then let it do its blend and then set my boost curve based on how much ethanol's in the fuel. So I mean that's kind of the biggest thing now. I know there's some guys out there that can only run E85 the way their maps are set up, but there's going to be fuel, and then like a couple people have posted that VP is going to be at each of the tracks anyway, which is huge.
Yeah, and then Steve, are you running the factory tank or you have a smaller like cell or something like that?
No, it's the factory 23 gallon. In the car.
So yeah, you should be able to make that trip, and then you guys, I would think you have at least a 16 or 18 gallon tank.
I can make it track to track. Yep.
Yeah. Racers and Rod says it's 115 miles from Bradenton to Orlando. I don't know if that. He said he drove it for Luke last weekend, so that's going to be a fun day. I mean, And then Jared Klausner asked, "How is the DA in Florida this time of year?"
It's
not that it matters for us.
Dry.
13, 14.
Yeah, what was it last week in Bradenton? They said it was minus 50 feet. It was unusually dry and clean and dense air.
That's awesome. Hot Rod Dave says you can get the app for all the tracks but Gainesville, and it will show the weather station for each track.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, Ozzy has all his tracks on apps, and Bradenton does as well.
That makes a ton of sense to me because one, you can probably that stuff will be saved for months, I would think, or forever. I don't know. And then you can pull it up and screenshot, and you're not trying to worry about a piece of paper.
Yeah, that's what's cool is you can screenshot it and post it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, for them, as far as advertising goes, how do you beat that? Nobody looks at a time slip whenever you post that, but whenever you've got that nice screenshot of your phone and the pass you made, it's definitely nice.
Well, here in Dallas, we're not that fancy. As big as the city as we are, we still have paper.
Yep,
we're fancy like Applebee's down here, man.
That's awesome.
Go sit down, man. I have a Staffordshire Terrier that wants all of my time right now.
Well, it's like, who are you talking to? You're not talking to me. You got to talk to me. That's awesome. But what else do we need to cover, guys? I don't want to leave on a fuel conversation. I want to leave on some fun stuff.
Well, I kind of do. I want people to kind of know me and Jazzmin's story.
Yeah.
Basically, it was kind of like how we met to now. It's kind of funny at the very beginning because so one day I was just scrolling through Facebook, and then I was like, "Ooh, this girl, she's pretty cute." I was like, "Oh, friend request, right?" So she accepted it. I don't know how long it was, but she accepted it. So like one whole year later, I was like, "Hi." She's like, "Well, it took you a whole year to say something." And then it kind of started from there. So
we talked about how her reaction time is a lot faster than yours already.
It is.
So at this time, do y'all know what Raising Cane's is?
The restaurant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was working at Raising Cane's as just like a regular crew member. So like the regular old people behind the counter in the kitchen. And then I was also working at Discount Tire. So I was riding the bus. She was riding the bus. So this is 2011-ish. And, you know, I was into cars, but I really wasn't. But I know in high school, I had a list of cars I wanted. So it was like Trailblazer SS, a G8. So at that time, the G8 was brand new at that point. A Corvette. I had a 01 on there, knowing dang well that I could not afford a 01. But hey, it was on my wish list. So then, you know, we got together, we started hanging out, and I started telling her about cars and stuff that, you know, I like them, and, you know. And then I ended up getting the 05 Impala SS, so it had the L67. So it was the 3800 with the supercharger. And then we ended up joining the Impala Car Club, and we enjoyed that like it was no other. And then, you know, we end up kind of getting into it a little bit, and then we end up breaking up, and then I end up totaling the Impala, and then I end up buying a G8. So I done had two G8s. So I bought the red G8, and I probably had it for maybe 30 minutes. Even though we were broken up, for about 30 minutes, I had the car. And I pulled up to her house, and I said, hey, come outside, watch this. I started doing the burnout. And this is in the neighborhood she stays in, is a lot of old people. So I was like, but the car was quiet. So it was like listening to a Tesla. But just with a V8 though. So it was just so quiet. So then, you know, that car ended up getting totaled. None of these are my fault, okay?
Dude, I don't know, man. One time is not yours, and two times I'm a little nervous.
Well, so the red car in T-Bone, I was in a bright red G8 and a base model 5th gen Camaro V6 T-Bone. So then that whole thing went through, and then I ended up.
Hang on. We got to back up. Jazzmin, were you impressed by his burnout when he pulled up to your house while y'all were broken up?
There's the question.
It was a nice burnout. It was really nice. It put a smile on my face.
The video is on our Instagram, on my personal Instagram, and you can hear her giggling in the background. So.
It was nice.
Okay.
So then I ended up buying a gray G8, and that one was when it was like we went full on in. So around that time, for a year, we were apart. And then that gray G8 kind of brought us back together. And so I got the gray G8, and we finally moved in together. And I knew it was real when the G8 started having a lifter tick. And we already cammed it by this time, so it had no DOD, but for some odd reason it had a lifter tick. And we was in our first apartment together. And I was like, Jazz, where am I going to do this cam swap at and pull these lifters up? Well, let's say I went to Harbor Freight, got a hoist and a stand, and we still didn't have a bunch of furniture yet. So let's just say the dining room was the engine room.
Oh my God, that's great. That's great.
So that's that happened, and then just a little bit more. Then I started tearing stuff apart myself, and I started learning how to build engines. So then we moved to our next place, and right before the last G8 incident, me and her, we built the motor together.
That's awesome.
Well, see, because I didn't have any special measuring tools, so I have plastic.
You don't have to with an LS. You just put parts in.
I put the plastic gauge on there, torqued it down. I was like, all right.
That works. Hang on, real quick. I don't want to enter the story, but Hodge Dodge is asking, will antifreeze pass tech, or does it need to be water? I do remember somebody saying something. If it's a slow car, it's fine. But if it's I would think a 10-second car or faster, they want you to run water. But I mean, again, that's just me trying to remember. You need to ask somebody that's smarter.
Yeah, no, I've never had an issue running antifreeze. I don't run a real fast car either. But yeah, I mean, well, and typically guys that are running cars that are able to push cylinder heads and stuff like that are a little more cautious anyway. And then, any of the unlimited and pro class cars are typically a water or the water replacement.
Yeah. And then you definitely make sure you've got a good catch can that can handle all of any kind of, overflow or anything like that that you would have. That's my official answer for someone that doesn't know anything. And then Hot Rod Dave says he thinks that's right. 10 and faster run water. So I know there's a lot of guys that are going to be swapping out to just water and water wetter additives and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so you guys, you have the gray G8. You're living together. You're not getting your deposit back on this apartment because you got no dinner table and you got a LS engine in the. I got to find out what happens next because earlier you had said you sold the G8. And that's where the CTSV came in. Oh, okay.
But wait, there's more. Okay. So remember I just rebuilt the engine. So here in Dallas, we got something called Friday Night Drags that they do at Texas Motor Speedway, where NASCAR race. So we built the motor, and I'm telling you, I've never built a motor before, but it stayed above 25 psi oil pressure. And this is me hot lapping it. I'm literally like racing, and then when you win, you go back around the oval, and then you come back. So we get so far, and you got to check our YouTube. The updates and stuff from that whole event is there. Mm-hmm. But this is where everything just really just kind of like happened while the CTSV exists. So right at the end, so what ended up happening was we went to, she was at home. She didn't want to go that day. So we was going to, I know y'all know who Demonology is. Mm-hmm. And Dunkmaster, he's one of the big wheel racers. They had an event here at Motorplex. So I went with a friend, and then after the event, I dropped him off on one side of town, and Jazzmin stayed on the other side of town. So I was on my way to her house, and I'm exhausted. We woke up at 4 o'clock that morning, and now it's running around 12 p.m. AM, I'm sorry. Yep. It was just about to be the whole next day. And I'm cruising to her house. I'm like, oh man, I'm tired. And this GTR just ran up on me, and it was just like, it just revving its engine. So I was like, oh. It's like, I hear it, but I'm just so worn out. I'm just like, whatever. So I don't know what happened. Boom, I just got this burst of energy. I was like, oh, it's a GTR. I was like, okay. So and then I just like downshift. Downshift. And then I say, 1, 2, 3, the whole back end of my car, because I did a 6.2. It had a big cam, Pat G stage 3 cam, ported mill heads. It was literally a built motor instead of this didn't have a built bottom end. So the car made almost 600 wheel if it did or didn't. We always street to them. We don't care about dyno numbers. Yeah. So did that. The whole back end of the car almost hit the passenger door of the GTR, and he was like, "Okay, hey, let's do it again." So brace yourself. 1, 2, 3. And I'm telling you, we were sitting right next door to each other, and then for some odd reason, that GTR just like, whoa, just did just that on me. I was like, what's going on? All right, so now this is when I say brace yourself. So all of a sudden I hear a clink, and there's a big gust of fire underneath my car. So I'm trying to pull over. So I was like, okay, the car's on fire, let me pull over. So then I break into like 30 spin down the Interstate 20. So the car never hit a wall. It never hit grass. It never hit anything. But the whole time I'm holding on to the wheel, counter staring and like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm,
but now I wasn't panicking.
Put oil everywhere.
Straight. Okay, so then the car stops spinning. It slows down at this point, and then I pull over to the left side of the freeway. So I get out the car and I grab my phone, so my laptop, I had cash, my spare keys to my pickup truck, and other things are still in the car. So I probably walk 20, 30 feet in front of the car, call 911 so they can just, come and just inspect the car. I had a carbon fiber hood. Okay, so, and I walked 30 feet in front of the car, and all of a sudden, I see something underneath the car. So it's like little bitty embers. And then I see, poof.
Oh.
The carbon fiber hood gone, just like that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And my whole car was engulfed in flames. The only thing that didn't catch fire, ironically, was the trunk. But in the trunk, I had a grill and a nice size thing of MAP gas.
Oh, dude, that'd have been
Yes.
That'd have been awesome to watch.
Yes.
You'd have needed to be further than 30 feet away, though, I would think.
But it was in the trunk. I was in the front of the car, so it would have propelled and hit the police officer vehicle that was behind.
That's crazy, dude. So, all right, so that's 3 cars you've ruined now.
And it's not his fault. We're 3
Yeah, are we
deep, it's not
sure
his fault.
Not his fault.
you need to be driving the V?
And now we know why Jazzmin drives the car.
Yeah.
I take blame for the G8 because my friend, when we put the motor back in, he was like, "Hey, man, your trans line," because I had AM fittings and the braided line and stuff. He was like, "Hey, man, it's touching the bell housing," and I was like, "Okay," and we put it in, and I just should have listened to him. And the car still would have been here, and we probably would have been using that because I've been wanting to do Rocky Mountain Race Week with her in the G8, but just every time something happens, like you know, I don't know, something always happens. Suspension
it's
goes
called
bad.
life.
Yeah.
Yes, that.
IED Racing here saying, does anyone know if Bradenton has testing Friday before Streetcar Takeover? I don't. I think I've heard that it I know they're racing on Friday and Saturday both, so I would think there's going to have some kind of testing or something that morning at least.
Friday.
Hmm.
So it might have some time in between, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're waiting till Friday to test, just go on ahead and run on Sunday and Monday.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple hours open on Sunday for testing, right? I mean,
yes.
Yeah, at the very beginning.
Typically on drag week, that's the way it works, and I think the guys are trying to do the same thing here.
Yeah.
Once you tech in, they're going to have open track, and people can go make laps.
That's cool. That's going to be a lot of fun. I hope my flight does not get canceled or pushed back. I picked the cheap flights. I'm the only person from Northwest Arkansas going to this. If anybody had been taking a car, I would have just ridden with them. But I'm literally the only person from here going. So I plan to fly. Now we have this stupid ass 8-inch snowstorm coming that probably came from Mike's area of the country.
Probably.
Yeah, and so it's supposed to. Yeah, it's supposed to dump 6 inches of snow tomorrow, which means all of the idiots here in town will completely lose their minds. And I know we've got until Friday, but hopefully it's just snow. If it's just snow, I think I'm fine. But Allegiant won't do updates any more than a day ahead of time for the planes. So, like, I'm in this limbo. There's some guys from Tulsa that are coming that by Google Maps, their route should go 40. So I've been messaging them, hey, I may have to fight Sasquatch to get down to you, but I'm coming. I'll ride with you guys, that kind of stuff. So yeah, next time I'll just plan to drive. I'll drive either here to Dallas and ride with London and Jazzmin, or
that to me is part of what's so cool about these events is how everybody just kind of comes together and like we were talking about earlier with Stefan up in Jacksonville. Like I've never met the guy and posted a video on Facebook, and he and I have connected, went and took our wives and had lunch this past weekend, made a road trip. Like it's just cool how all that falls together. I was gonna say I don't know if Mike wants to share some stuff about his drag week. I'd like to share one of my past stories is how my 2019 came together, but I think Mike's got a pretty unique story as well.
Yeah, there was some great people there. My car, I started converting it to a gasser about a year before, the summer before. A friend of mine at the end of summer, he comes on and says, "Hey, I think drag week would be great in a gasser." He'd done drag week once before in his Mustang, and so we thought, well, yeah, that'd be cool. We started building the thing, and then the pandemic hit, so I had 2 years to build the car instead of a year. And we basically went through everything: the engine, transmission, put a new rear end in it, went through everything in the car, put some subframe connectors and reinforced a bunch of stuff, and we got it done about a month before drag week. My son and I pull out of the yard and it's going to go for a test drive, right? We make it about 100 feet out of the driveway and it dies. We had to push it back. So yeah, everybody was giving me a hard time. Hey, you got to take those carbs off that thing and put a single 4-barrel on it. And I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It's going to go like it's going to go, and we're going to make it. No, you're not going to make it. Yes, we are. Even my son, he was like, we're never going to make it. Yep, we're going to get there. We're going. There it is right there.
Yeah, that's so cool looking, dude.
Wes would like that.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, I love gassers. I
I was
absolutely.
diagnosed with Parkinson's about in 2015, after having had symptoms long before that. But yeah, so now I'm in an attitude where, you know, if you got a chance, you got to go do it. Got to take
Yep.
advantage.
Yep. Yeah, I agree 100%. And that's why we're doing so much Dragon Drive events. I mean, I love them. They're so much fun.
Yeah, Pepsi Joe, he was there. He and I won the Spirited Drag Week award. That was a great moment after everything was over and said and done.
That was awesome.
And then we made the cover of Sick Magazine and got in Hot Rod Magazine and still doing stuff. If you get there, check out the Sickest of the Sick award. I made that. I mailed that out yesterday, so it'll be there.
That's cool. I do remember seeing that, and I've already closed the other screen, or I'd pull that up. That's cool. It's like so, but it looks like there's people will have their name tags. It'll move from person to person, or it'll stay and it'll have their name.
It's like the Drag Week plaque. It'll go from person to person, but it's already got 24 spots on it, so there's room for more. So that one will be around for a long time.
Yeah,
got those spinning around race cars on the top and all that stuff. Is pretty cool.
I'll see if
is that set up similar to like the Spirited Drag Week that they had set up with the camshaft that they pass around
exactly
from person to person?
Exactly. But
Okay, cool.
I put a picture of something out there, and Tom messaged me and he says, "Hey, that looks pretty cool. How about you? Can you get time to make a trophy for us? We want to have something for our Spirited Drag Week kind of award." And I said, "Yeah, I can do that. What do you have in mind?" He says, "Well, I don't know, but not a plaque." So I came up with that one. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, hang on. Here we go. I've got it here. Sorry, still trying to use all this stuff. And usually I would grab some pictures and things like that and do before
Tom is so funny too because he's so poignant and he will tell you his opinion in the nicest way possible.
There's the video.
Oh, hell yeah.
That is too cool.
That.
Yeah. That's cool.
Hey, y'all vote for me to get it.
That's awesome. Steve, you want to tell us your story, how you got into your Drag Week story?
Yeah, man. So 2019 was really interesting for me. I'd been watching, Drag Week since fairly early on, probably number 4, number 5, just kind of getting whiffs of it and picking it up. And then Hot Rod had it on their website. They had some video clips and stuff like that. And then watched it. I grew up, my dad drag raced, and I enjoy it, but it's kind of, a really expensive hobby for an occasional, weekend.
No kidding.
So I bought this car, and that was really the whole aura behind it. Was I wanted to build a car that wasn't necessarily really fast, but would be fun. And then I could throw a lot of people in it. So I wanted a 4-door, and then it turned into a station wagon because then I have the history seat. So I built the car, put it all together. Thought I was going to have it ready for 2018. That wasn't going to happen. So 2019 come around, and I posted pictures on Facebook as I was going through the build and all the different cycles of the car. And I posted that I got in for Drag Week. I was excited, I submitted and I had passed or whatever, got in my application. And one of my buddies that I went to college with in Orlando said, "Hey, a group of the guys that I know is going." So that started a conversation online with a couple of the guys. And then their plan was, I think it was, what was it, Virginia? Yeah, it was where our home track was for 2019. So I'm up here in St. Augustine, up in Northeast Florida by Jacksonville. So all these guys are leaving from Orlando, and I think it was a crew of 4 guys total. Yeah. And I told him, I said, "Hey, just let me know whenever you guys are cruising up 95, and I'll pop on the interstate and I'll follow you." Well, all these guys are towing their cars and trailers, and here I come whipping out onto Interstate 95 with a car and a U-Haul trailer behind it, expecting to drive up to Virginia. I had an external fuel pump on the car. Had I just put the 9-inch rear end in it, and it was me and my dad. And I put a roll bar in the car, was all I had in it, because I was trying to stiffen the car up, because even on the street, This thing likes to it almost does the little G body twist, just because it's 150 feet long. So we're cruising up to interstate, and my dad and I are riding up the road. No air conditioning in the car, so we got the windows open. The back windows are peeled. And I go, man, I smell gear oil. And he goes, I think it's your imagination. And we're cruising up the road, and we're like coming up on the Georgia border, which is like an hour north from where we are in St. Augustine. And at this point, I had already driven the car down to Orlando Speed World and then out to Georgia, to Ozzy's other place up there, Georgia Motorsports, South Georgia Motorsports Park. So it had quite a few road miles on it. But we're cruising up into Georgia, and I'm like, man, I smell gear oil. And I'm like looking in the rearview mirror. I don't see anything at first. And then I'm looking at it, and I'm going, man, my rear window looks dirty. And then I look out the side view mirror, and the U-Haul trailer's like glossy. And at this point, I have not physically met any of the guys from Orlando. We're literally like, the closest we've gotten now is from talking on Facebook to a text message chain. And one of the guys had sent a text out and was like, hey, we're crossing over into Georgia. I got to stop for gas. And I was like, yeah, I probably need to stop and see what's going on with the car. So we roll up into this truck stop gas station, and we're going to stop to get fuel. And I'm like looking under the car, and I'm like, Dad, the rear end's dripping. It dripped like the last maybe half a quart of oil that was left in the rear end. It had puked the pinion seal. It pushed it out. So it pushed the pinion seal and just barfed all the fluid out of the rear end. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, I just made it across the state line. What is going on here? And all the other guys are like, hey, man, don't worry about it. It'll be all right. And so we get out some brake cleaner. We jack the car up, wait a couple minutes because the rear end's 9,000 degrees. Go into the truck stop, and they have gear lube. So we squirt some gear lube in the rear end. We took the pinion seal. Well, we took the pinion seal, sprayed it all down with brake clean. I don't know if I had JB Weld or I bought JB Weld inside of the gas station, but we took the pinion seal and pushed it back in with JB Weld. In fact, no, this center section doesn't have it, but I still have the center section. I had it rebuilt, but I kept the pinion seal JB welded in place. And I did the same thing to this one. I pulled the pinion seal out and ran a bead of JB Weld behind it and pushed it back in again. But anyway, we get that done. And get back on the highway. And like I said, kind of the precursor to this whole thing is I had an external fuel pump on the car, an inline fuel pump. So we're cruising up the highway. The guys, we made it into South Carolina, and the car just on the side of Interstate 95, the car just quit. And I'm like, okay, ran out of fuel. There's no fuel pressure, ran out of fuel. So had a 5-gallon jerry jug in the U-Haul trailer, fill it back up. And this leads to dropping the fuel tank, think it's the fuel pickup, this, that, and the other. And we made it to Virginia at 2:00 on Sunday morning. So my intro to drag week was really, I got the good break in.
Yeah, you got initiated is what we call it, hazing. And
yeah, that was a serious hazing there. But hung out with the group of guys from Orlando, and what was really interesting is my buddy that I went to college with, his buddy that he had rode with a couple times, Josh Smith, who ran the Rusty Z28. Josh and I kind of start having conversation, and we're talking about everything. And he grew up at Orlando Speed World. I grew up at Orlando Speed World. We're both the same age. And we realized that the two of us were riding bicycles around this track together whenever we were little kids, while our parents were out, drag racing.
That's pretty.
So
neat.
that was a unique experience. And then one of the other guys, Jason, is a really talented tuner. So he's actually helped me quite a bit with my car as we've gone through, because I have to do everything in a difficult way. I have to use a different computer than everybody else, and I have to know how everything works. And that's one thing that to me has always been voodoo science. And as soon as I figured out how to set a map and everything like that, and Jason walked through everything with me on that, I went out and bought an electronic wastegate because I have to make it difficult. But anyway, we had Jason.
Heaven forbid you run a damn vacuum line and a boost controller.
No. We're not going to do that. We're going to make it difficult.
Mac valve, whatever. It's okay.
And so then, and then Ed and Mark were the other two guys on the trip with us, and both of them just with their experiences and everything. It was really neat. And so like since 2019, we've all had this camaraderie between one another. Helping each other with builds and stuff like that, and information and data or parts or whatever the case may be. So it's been a really good time.
One thing while you were telling that story, the thing that sticks out to me the most is that typically you go to the track, you break something. It's like, oh man, dang, now you got to go home. It takes 2 weeks to fix it. There's people there that are going to help you put that thing together. They're going to be like, hey, don't panic. We got this. It's fine. And people will get out jacks and towels to lay on, and they'll get under the car and work on it. It's pretty amazing.
It's absolutely unbelievable. And that goes back to what I said earlier. It's like, making passes in the car it's a lot of fun, but that's definitely anymore. That's not why I go. I go, like you said, it's the challenge. 100% it's the challenge, but it's the fact that as humans, we all can work together and get something done. Yeah. It's the best team building exercise you could ever go through.
Yeah, except a couple locked in a room putting IKEA furniture together. That's the only thing that's stronger bonding.
No.
I know, man. I know. I've done it.
So Steve, I have the opposite problem with my car. It's all I'm the fool who likes to play with all the old school stuff. Carburetors and breaker points and shit like that. And I got all the people. Why don't you put some damn electronics in this thing?
Yeah, nobody knows how to work on your car, man.
That's right.
What is this? What is this toilet on the top of this intake? I don't understand.
They're gonna be like, what is this?
Caveman technology.
Yeah, hey, that's all right. Screwdrivers and sandpaper on points, I think, right?
Yeah,
what it is.
Well, my son and his buddies were out talking one day about the tuners on their Mustangs. They all had different ones and had to get this and that. And it's gonna cost so much money. I walked out with a screwdriver. Here's my tuner.
Right. That's awesome. All right, y'all. It's an hour and 27. I'm gonna have to close it down. I'm sure my wife is in there like, okay, listen, I'm giving you you can do these podcasts every single night of this week as a 6 Pods of Sick Week. But she's ready to spend some time with me, I'm sure, or she's already in bed, and I'm gonna go in and start editing videos to start dropping as we get down there closer. So I really do appreciate you guys.
I wish I could be there with you, but long haul from Washington.
Yeah. Danny Diesel was up that way. He came down. He was in Spokane, I think, and he left 2 or 3 days ago and is in St. Louis now. He was on last night, kind of telling some story about that stuff. So, yeah, it's a commitment to come from that far.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I don't fuel on the tow truck.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Fuel, and then you've almost got to take 2.5, 3 weeks off of work. 3 days worth of travel here, a week for the travel or for the week, and then 3 or 4 days back home.
Yep, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's wild. Y'all, thank you very much. Let's run around the room one more time for social media stuff, mainly for these guys. Because they have YouTube and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. We want to get them as many followers as we can from the week, and everybody else, you can find them on Facebook. You can't find Mike on Facebook under Mike, though. It's
okay.
He's got his alter ego.
Guy.
Yeah. So, London and Jazz, y'all want to tell where everybody can find you guys, and then we'll just make the loop around, and then I'll close it out, and we'll see each other in 3 days. I'm excited.
All right, so Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter is Built by London Racing. And for her on Instagram, it's CTSV_Bonnie. Oh, no. Yeah, it is CTSV. Yeah, okay. CTSV_Bonnie. But also, she needs to not be private so people can see things.
Hey, that's all right. They gotta you gotta approve them, right? Isn't that the thing? Like
Right.
they request it? Yeah.
It's a little extra work. It's not
Yeah.
hard.
Hey, listen, we don't need anybody following her that don't need to follow her. That's the way it works, right?
Exactly.
I mean, she's a woman and she's beautiful, so we're
Hey,
gonna
man.
follow her regardless.
Yeah, she needs to limit that some, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Or hey, let's just let London run them DMs. That'd be more fun.
Hey, baby, what you doing? You want to come over?
That's right.
Come
That's
over
right.
here.
Yeah, there you go. Steve, and then we'll go to Mike.
Steven Mask on Facebook. That's it. I'm old fashioned.
And then Mike, where can they find you? Where do they
Yeah,
see the
Mike,
crazy tube?
Facebook under C George Murray, 10mm Garage, and also on Instagram at on _shaky_ground.
Awesome. Well, y'all, there's the pup.
Yeah, all 75 pounds of.
Oh my gosh!
Dog.
All right, I'm gonna put you guys in the backstage while I do the Destroyer 1320. Thank him and all that kind of stuff. Y'all stay with me because I want to talk to you for just a second before we get out of here.
Very cool.
And then I'll be right back. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. It's I love these. The more I do these style of podcasting, we run out of people that I know to come in and visit, and so it's fun to meet new people. And obviously, I'm going to see these guys in a couple days. So except for Mike, which I hope will follow along with all of our adventures and comment on that stuff and make funny, inappropriate jokes at our expense as we go along. So, again, we're live tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Adam Dorey and Chad Reynolds. And then Thursday, we've got Rob Lapenske, Zach Blum, and Steve McDermott Jr. Rob Lapenske is the Old Yeller gasser. He's a gasser champion for Rocky Mountain Race Week a couple different times. Stick car, twin turbo, 53 Chevrolet. Super cool car, super cool family. Him and his wife both race. And then Friday, if my plane leaves like it should, I'll be live with Justin, the driver of the event of the Model A. We'll be live right from his garage before we go over to Streetcar Takeover. So again, all of the live streams that are brought to you during Sick Week and probably a few after that pertain to Sick Week are brought to you by Destroyer1320.com. Again, neutral safety cover for the Mopar stuff. Obviously, you got to have that kind of stuff if you're going to drive, a Hellcat, any kind of high performance Mopar. If it's a V6, don't worry, let it get stolen. Get you something with a V8 next. So I'll play his thing, and then we are out. Y'all, thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Are you tired of worrying about your car when it's parked in the parking lot? You're not around it. You're at dinner. You're at the mall. You're worried about it? Stop being worried about it, man. Go over to www.destroyer1320.com. Get yourself neutral release cover. If you pull this up and you don't see that, go over to Destroyer1320.com. Get yourself one of them. Do yourself a favor. Get the latest TDS OBD2 cover. That will stop people from cloning your key. Head over to www.Destroyer1320.com now.
All right, guys. Thanks a bunch, y'all. Thanks, Destroyer. Appreciate it, buddy.